Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you are all doing very well today. On Sunday, August 18th, 2019, we will have another film club live stream starting from 6 a.m. Tokyo time. So again, Sunday, August 18th, 6 a.m. Tokyo time. And the film that I will have the great pleasure of talking to you about is a film from 1957, released by the Criterion Collection under Spine 591. The film is 12 Angry Men. Angry Men, directed by Sidney Lumet, written by Reginald Rose, starring a whole bunch of great actors, included in which, of course, is Henry Fonda playing juror number 8 and Lee J. Cobb playing juror number 3. Two very dynamite performances, and they are but two performances in an ensemble cast that is just electrifying, dynamite, all round terrific. And this is a story about the jury deliberations with respect to a murder trial, and the conversations and discussions and the secrets that emerge with respect to these deliberations that take place over a certain amount of time. The atmosphere is tense, the suspense is palpable, and the human drama is so charged and filled with life and much tension and much frustration, and a great reflection of a real true-to-life, day-to-day drama that has things of the everyday, but also has things where really human lives are at stake. And so the stakes couldn't be higher in this incredibly charged drama, legal drama, human drama, that is 12 Angry Men. So what we have here is the Blu-ray, the Criterion Blu-ray of 12 Angry Men. And as I say, it will be my pleasure to talk about this film on Sunday, August 18th, 2019 at 6 a.m. Tokyo time. So please join us, and it will be my pleasure to be part of the conversation and to hear your thoughts about this great film, this truly magnificent masterpiece of a film that is 12 Angry Men. This is the Blu-ray. Incidentally, I should point out that there is actually this is also the Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection, although perhaps you might notice that there is a little bit of a difference in terms of the cover art. Can you spot the difference? I think the correct cover art is actually the one that we see on this side rather than on this side, because of a certain order that's given to the pictures that represent the jury members of this particular 12-man jury. But cover aesthetics aside, we should point out that the Criterion Collection release of 12 Angry Men, and I'll have the main release here, is a packed release, because not only does it have the film, which is, according to the back, a new high-definition digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack for the Blu-ray, but it also has a number of other features, and let me just talk about them briefly here. There is, of course, the 1955 television version. This is the live version that was with Robert Cummings, and it's a very interesting contrast, or well, I should step back. It's not just contrast. There are many similarities with the later film adaptation by Sidney Lumet, but there are also some stark differences, which I think create an interesting discussion between what makes the film version, what makes the TV version, the teleplay version. And there are certain differences. In particular, without going into spoilers, a certain way in which the endings of each of the respective versions plays out is actually quite different, and it adds a certain nuance that, let's say, exists in the film but doesn't exist in teleplay, and vice versa as well. Certain nuances that exist in a teleplay which don't necessarily translate through to the film, and I think those differences make for very interesting conversations. But for purposes of the live stream, I will be focusing on the film itself and not on the teleplay. But of course, for those of you who are interested, the teleplay is available as one of the supplements on the Criterion release. Then there is a production history of 12 Angry Men, from teleplay to big screen classic, and this is a nice interview, and it's just talking about the background of the play and how it translated to the screen and the story behind that. So it's a very interesting background information packed interview. Then there are archival interviews with director Sidney Lumet, and then there's a new interview with screenwriter Walter Bernstein about Lumet. Both are great, by the way. And then there's a new interview with Ron Simon, about writer Reginald Rose. This is very interesting too, because Reginald Rose is, of course, in many ways the kind of brainchild, if you will, of the story, which later developed into this film. So, and his background as a playwright, in particular for television, is very interesting, and I think it's something that is very informative. At least it was for me. So very good interview with Simon. And then also there is the teleplay, which is directed by Sidney Lumet, called Tragedy in a Temporary Town, which is also a play that was written by Reginald Rose and directed by Sidney Lumet. This is from 1956, so it predates the film 12 Angry Men by about a year. It's a really compelling drama, and it's just another example of how powerful the teleplay format was during 1950s U.S. television era. It's a really powerful, fascinating format. And to have two examples of that here, with the teleplay version of 12 Angry Men and also the teleplay of Tragedy in a Temporary Town, is a real treat. I must say, this is a real great supplement to have. And then there is a long interview, I think about 40 minutes, with the cinematographer John Bailey. And he's talking about the cinematographer of this film, who is Boris Kaufman. And part of the power of this film is with its camera work. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to talk too much about it, except to say that the camera work is superb. The camera work here is utterly, utterly superb. There is not one wrong move in this in terms of the camera work. Everything is perfect. Everything is aligned perfectly. Every shot is framed beautifully and with meaning and with purpose. Every camera movement is there with much meaning and definition and artistry. This is a truly beautifully captured drama in terms of the camera work and the gliding motions and the tension that is created. It's a filmed play, but it feels three-dimensional, and I think that is due in large part to the way in which the camera translates the narrative for our very eyes into something that is truly dynamic. So to hear John Bailey speak about Boris Kaufman in terms of this film, and also in terms of other films by Lumet, it's really an interesting interview, and so highly recommended, the interview with John Bailey. And then there is an original theatrical trailer, and then there is a booklet featuring an essay by writer and law professor Thane Rosenbaum, which is right here. So, my friends, 12 Angry Men is, I think, a film that on the one hand is very unique and particular to the locality in which it's based. This is New York, and in particular, New York court. And so this court has jurisdiction over this particular crime, which is first-degree murder, as defined under the specific or relevant statutes of New York, as far as my understanding is concerned. So this is, in one way, a very local story, or a New York story that's based in New York locales and also has New York characters. This is, in many ways, a purely New York tale. But in other ways, I would suggest that it's very universal. There are certain themes about prejudice and about the way in which justice is meted out. And also, I think, on a grander scale, this idea of what it means to be a part of a democracy that involves this active part or this almost duty of being an active participant in the judicial system. Which is one main component, I think, of the sort of the intricacies of living in a democratic society. And so I think, and also there are many other things at play in this film as well, in terms of psychological, how do I put it, the way in which psychological tactics are employed when we're trying to debate with other people, or the way in which certain debate skills are played out in terms of how to logically make one's case, especially when one is dealing with, let's say, a hostile adversarial crowd. Also, there are things about how to basically communicate with one another, more generally speaking, outside of the realm of specific debate, but just more generally about how one communicates and how one's communication skills can be very important when one is trying to transmit a certain set of ideas. I mean, this is the hallmark of communication. So I think this theme is at play very strongly in this film. And also there are certain, let's say, social class structure dynamics that are at play here, I think, on the fore and also implicitly. But that's not all. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, and there are so many other things in this film that I hope to talk about with you and to hear your thoughts and comments on when it comes time to the Livestream Film Club, which again will be scheduled for Sunday, August 18th, 2019 at 6 a.m. Tokyo time. So 6 a.m. Tokyo time. So I hope to see you there, my friends. It hopefully will be a very fun and exciting time. I know it will be for me, because I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this film. I think you will have so much great things to say, as always, and it'll be my pleasure to learn from you and to gain great insights from you, which is, again, one of the great benefits for me in doing these live streams. So, my friends, the next scheduled live stream for 12 Angry Men, I'd love to see you there. Please, won't you join us? Okay, my friends, that's it for now. And so, until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Till we meet again, my friends. Cheers.